Welcome back to Restomod, my BMW M5 presented by eBay Motors. Today we are finally wrapping this build and taking this car for a drive. If you guys watched the last episode, you know I left a lot of you disappointed without taking this car out for a test drive. That is going to happen this episode, come hell or high water. We are driving this thing, but before we do that, what we're gonna start off with is fixing the front suspension here. If you look closely, you can see this wheel looks like it's too far back when you look at the gap between this and this here, and it's just, first of all, it just doesn't look proper, and second of all, I don't think it's ideal. So what I have done is picked up a set of these K-Mac adjustable strut tops, and if you guys haven't heard of K-Mac, they're actually one of the longest running strut top manufacturers around. They're one of the key players in the BMW game, and they have two different versions of this, which is like a complete street version. This is their street race version, which is what I opted for. So one of the things that people usually experience with coilovers on a setup such as this is they have spring bind. When you turn the wheel, the springs kind of like bind up and you can hear them go pop, pop, pop. The K-Mac unit actually has a radial thrust bearing right here, you can see built in. So the spring will sit on here and rotate, which alleviates any of that. It also has this spherical bearing in here that's Teflon lined, so you're not gonna get any clunking going on, which is really, really good. So, and to fit it up here, you can see I'm just gonna slide it in now, such as this, push down on the KW, and then I should be able to get this guy in here and lined up, and then we'll be ready to rock. Now, of course, these camber caster plates can be adjusted with the car on the ground, but it is much easier to do it this way. And for demonstration purposes, you can see how much space we now have, or how much adjustment we have to move this in and out for camber, and then forward and back for casters. So there is actually quite a lot of adjustment here. Now, really fine tuning this is gonna be difficult right now. We don't wanna set up our whole box string setup. What we're gonna do is take this over to NV Auto for an alignment. So we're just gonna eyeball this, get it like lined up to what we think is good, and that's it. So we've dialed in the caster and the camber a bit, and we are at roughly 2 degrees of camber. Caster, we don't know, but you can see we did move the wheel slightly forward. And I think the gap between here and here has improved. Well, it happened, everybody. I was hoping I would get an interior for this car, and bam, we have an interior. And this is no regular interior. This is actually a very, very rare and special interior. It is not out of an M5. This is out of a Canadian spec M540i, and there were only 32 of these vehicles made for Canada, and they were super cool. They were V8 6-speed cars, and they got a bunch of really neat parts, including this interior, which is a bison leather interior. It's not like it's in way, way better shape than my vehicle, but let's just go through a couple things and I'll show you where we kind of have to do some fixing up. These Canadian cars did come with this carbon fiber trim, which I think was only on these models, so it is extremely rare. However, as you can see, it does have 30 years of age and wear on it, particularly this piece that goes around the shifter surround. It's really worn out. It's got a bit of a crack here, so we're gonna buff this, maybe fill this in with a bit of clear coat and hope that it clears up much nicer. A couple of the door cards also have a couple of little cracks in it, but you know what? Like, I'm not gonna complain about it. The majority of it, as you can see, is in really, really good shape. The rear parcel shelf has been extremely sun faded. This should be a black, as noted by the seatbelt here. It is now this weird purple. Usually in this type of scenario, you can see it's also lifting in certain areas. I would have this rewrapped, but because we're on a bit of a time crunch and trying to keep this quick and easy, yeah, right, I'm just gonna spray paint this and we'll see how this goes. So we'll do that in a moment. We also do have a bit of a sagging headliner right here. So we're gonna use a little bit of like Super 77 to deal with that as well, which is like a glue. I am no expert at this. Odds are this is not gonna turn out perfectly, which is a shame, but also I don't want to give this to an upholstery shop right now. So the gist of this is you spray this Super 77 on one side, you spray it on the other side, and then you let it tack up and then you stick it together. The struggle here is getting it down into the corners. I think if I turn this like that.
The other trick is to not get too high on the fumes because this stuff's strong.
Yeah, we forgot about that. I'm just so ready to send this. We're able to save it there.
Saved it.
Well, it does look like we did a great job. Whether this holds for a month or 10 years, we won't know right now, but as you saw, it's not a necessarily difficult job. It just requires finesse and having a good idea of the flash time for it to tack up before you put it down, but I think we got it right. And as you can see, this headliner has a bit of staining here, so I've got my blast cannon out with a bit of, I think there's vinegar water in here? I think that's what we were using before, so let's see what it does here. Bam! Nice. Took care of that. Wow. So what we have here is some Duplicolor vinyl and fabric paint, spray paint. I've used this in the past. It works pretty well. So 3 cans of this later. Yes, believe it or not, I just went through 3 cans and I said I'm calling it quits at this point. It looks okay. I'm not gonna call this perfect. I would call this a spray-on vinyl paint job, or fabric paint job, as you would expect. It's just, there's a slight, weird spotting in areas and a little bit of streaking here and there, but it's close enough. What it actually has done is it kind of mimics more of a little bit of like the sun faded sides. So it's not like it's gone to that perfect black color. The downside of this stuff, when you paint it though, is it feels a little bit harder and like rougher. So, but because this is going into the back, I'm not too worried about it. And honestly, it looks a million times better than it was. So we will call this a success. Using some of the Sonax Cutmax compound, you can see I was able to bring a lot of the shine and gloss back to it. And the more I look at this crack here, I was thinking about just putting a bit of clear coat on there, but it's not gonna penetrate underneath. So if you guys have any ideas on how to fix something like this without having to take the clear off, by all means, please let me know, because I'd love to hear it. A very common issue on these E34 door cards is that the plastic clips that hold them in place break off. As you can see, they use like cheap glue on this fiberboard, and all but one, even this piece is broken, all but one here. This one, and of course the tab is broken there, is left on here. So I'm going to come in with some JB plastic weld. I read online that this is actually a pretty good solution. It cures in 15 minutes and it should do the trick here. So really at this point, what I have to do is figure out where a lot of these go. And once I have them in place, I can go about securing them on here. Now all I'm gonna do is just lay a pretty thin layer of this stuff on this side. I don't know if really the proper way to do it is to remove this glue or whatever.
Just harm the board underneath, I think, if you try to remove it.
Yeah, maybe, so. Yeah. And then you just stick it on like that. Quick update on the door card here. The JB weld has set, and let's see, look at that. It looks like it's gonna work well, so let me grab it there. Yeah. It is now time to start taking the interior apart, which a job that I am not really looking forward to, and we're gonna start off with the door cards and see how many clips are gonna actually come out here or they're gonna break. And I think if I find the spot where they are, we may not break any here, DP.
Oh, you're dreaming, buddy, you're dreaming.
Look at this,
You'll be lucky if 2 or 3 survive.
Nah, let's see here. If I yank on this right now, I think it'll probably break them off, but look, if I, oh, is that plastic I just heard fall?
Yeah. When it comes to BMWs, Peter, you're an eternal optimist. You're expecting the best.
There's sunflower seeds falling out of here, which is not a good sign. I don't think. Yeah. So, pro tip here, everybody. Look at this. Sometimes people are like, oh, I gotta yank this off to take it off. This actually is screwed on and spins off. Wow. And this is the part I hate. So this trim, this chrome trim is usually attached to the top piece here, and it comes off either together or it's going to separate, and it's already, oh my God.
It always separates.
It always does. Ah! I hate this. It feels like it's gonna break. Why does it have to be so stressful, DP, to do this? Like,
old car life,
see?
man. Yep.
Why you gotta do that to me, BMW?
Looks like you saved most of the clips, though.
Yeah. Let's see this. Let's see. Did I?
Wow. That's
See?
like a world record.
No, you know what it is? I think if you like yank on it, it breaks off. But if you come in and you just like feel every one of those clips out,
he's the door card whisperer.
I'm just a pro. Here's the thing, though. See, on this one, for this door handle was not directly attached onto here, because when I pulled this off, this kind of just like was sagging and came off. You'll see. We'll show you on another door card. This is a nightmare to remove. You kind of have to go up and off, and it's not a good design. On the back here, see, we have this happening, which is also a common thing where this top portion separates from here. That's not a big deal. You can glue that back on, but as I was mentioning, so I now have all of the clips popped. You can see it's loose, but this little clip here, usually you're supposed to slide it up to get it to come out. You can see it just doesn't want to pull out. All right, so now I should be able to just yank this up. Oh, there it is. Look at this. Again, with the staples.
Wow.
What? Look at up here.
Oh, yeah. What is going on here? Is this someone's like hack fix?
It must be a hack fix, except if you look at this side.
You don't see the staples. That's weird. Maybe he stapled the foam under the leather or something?
Yeah, to hold that in place. Anyways, yeah, that's weird. Very, very weird indeed. Front seat is out, and if you guys watched the previous episode, you have known that someone had patched this by gluing this black piece of leather on here, which is like full amateur spec. And at this point, I'm gonna peel it so we can see what type of damage there was here for somebody to do this horrible of a job. Please tell me it was like a huge tear, not a tiny one.
Not looking like much yet, is it?
Oh man, look at, there it is, okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. All right, okay. It was bad. We unearthed some coins, some wrappers,
some sunflower seeds,
and this gum. What do you think, guys?
Go in for it.
How old is this?
It's got to be at least a decade old.
Oh man, it's like split in half. It's kind of failed. There's a hair in here. Oh, there's a couple of hairs in here.
Yeah, you're gonna eat it then, right?
Should I try it?
I mean, prove to everyone what BMW owners are really like.
What's the worst thing that could happen
They're
here?
all sociopaths. You're not going to do that, are you? You're not going to do that.
It's lost its smell?
Really? It's got COVID? Oh, dude, that's so nasty.
It doesn't have any taste to it. It's weird. It's like all of the flavor is gone, and I was chewing a piece of plastic.
Oh, God,
so yeah, I'm gonna go wash my mouth out now, and we will get back to cleaning up this interior. We are down to the last bit here, and that is the roof liner, which miraculously is not all that bad to remove from this vehicle, and it's part of the reason I decided to do this swap, because it's just sagging so badly back here and over here. Somebody decided to like glue the piece in. It looked really, really bad. And let's see if I can pull this out. People say use the rear passenger side door. So you got to twist, turn, and just there. Tighter than I'd like, truthfully.
Yeah.
There it goes. Just needed to clear the back. Woo. Oh. Check out the sunroof part here, which we also removed. You can see it's just like there's green on it. It's just falling apart here. Someone's tried to re-glue a lot of this. Like a lot of the interior in here has been messed with, unfortunately. So once again, it's just giving me more reason and explanation and validation as to why I'm doing this. Holy smokes, that was a lot more work than I ever anticipated. I'm sure, Dave, you knew what was coming. The BMW rabbit hole is real.
Is it ever?
And it hit hard there. And there was just little small things that we had to change and figure out and, you know, run into problems like this, which is the last thing, ironically. It's like this seat going in would have completed this interior, and oh my God, it does look so much better. Problem is, this plug is different than this seat. This seat came out of a 95. This is a 91. You know, I'm gonna pat myself on the back here for a second because I had the smarts to make sure that I got the harness out of that other car, and lo and behold, the internet said all you have to do is take that harness, and would you look at this? So this harness plug runs into what is the old plug here, and I had to cut a bunch of wires here, but that's not a big deal. And then everything plugs in, and now, look at this. It works up and down. However, guys, the battles continue here. We have what is known as seat twist, and you can see if you try to raise the seat up and down, only one side, this side is moving and this side is not moving. Believe it or not, what happens with these seats is you see these cables right here, these rubber cables that run into the motors, and then these motors spin up and they've got a metal cable inside, a square ended one. And what happens is this rubber expands and it pushes the cable back to a point where it's not engaging into the motor. This is a super common thing with E34s and even E39s. My original wagon, when I bought it, had that exact problem. You want to heat this up to the point that it softens the rubber, and then we can pull it out. Oh, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to take a razor blade and take about, I don't know, this much off here and remove this rubber. There you go. So you can see this is what is coming off. So now this is now going to allow this to go further into the motor, and you can see this is where it's going to make that connection. And now we see if the seat twist is gone, and look at that. That worked. So it's not a terrible fix. It's a little bit finicky, but if you've done it a bunch of times like I have, it's pretty easy. So let's get this in and show you guys what this interior looks like, because I am beyond pumped how well it turned out. What an absolute transformation. I feel like we have done a complete 180. Before, this interior was nothing to look at. It was trashed. I didn't feel good in this car, and now I feel special. This is truly a rare interior, and I love the carbon fiber. I love the black, and it's just in such better shape. So it looks so good. The one thing I'm sure a couple of you will make comments about is the carpet. These M540i's came with a gray carpet as well. It was just like a shade darker than this, but the time and effort it would have taken us to remove that carpet, or this carpet here, just wasn't worth it. I would have to cut it up, and I kind of like the contrast on it. So I'm totally digging like everything. I think it is now time we finally take this thing for a drive.
Well, Peter, are we done with this build yet? Because I'm kind of over it, buddy. That was a lot of work.
What do you mean?
Quick and easy, my ass, pal. That interior swap just about killed us. But it does look amazing in here. I won't lie. The interior swap was worth a week of our life because it looks so much better in here.
It really does. It does. It had that creep, man.
It did. It creeped on us, but it feels like a new car in here compared to how it felt before with that gray interior. It was so worn out and faded. It was never going to look right unless you completely reupholstered it, and that would have been a whole other level of creeping. So yeah, I'm glad you had to do 90% of the job, because this was fiddly swapping that interior, but it's driving.
Oh, dude, the suspension is so much better. Look at this. This is like the worst part that we usually cruise through.
Hideous roads.
And wow, it is so much better.
It's firm, but it's also compliant. It's impressive that KW's managed to do both.
That's what I mean. They always manage to nail it every time.
They really do.
So I certainly love it. The shifter. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about like perfection now? This thing feels brand spanking new. That shift kit from FCP Euro.
Yep.
Worth every penny. Every penny.
Yeah, well, that's a big point of contact with a car like this.
Look at it. It just feels it feels BMW.
Yeah.
90s BMW. Look at there's no shake right now. Before, remember we drove this thing, it shook, it like didn't love life. It feels like a new car. Like everything feels really good.
Yeah.
The throttle, we got to get these ITBs synced and some stuff figured out, because it kind of almost has this weird surge right now. Mm-hmm. Like unless I'm off, see?
Yeah.
It has like dead spots in it. So there's still a little bit of tweaking that needs to be done there. The flapper in the intake manifold, that thing is broke or doesn't work properly, so it doesn't actually actuate. There was a procedure that you run and you can see whether it's working or not, and it's not working. So that flapper is not opening.
There's some future tuning to do, is what you're saying.
Yes, there is. It's
not
a BMW.
In this series, though. We're wrapping this series up, aren't we, Peter?
We are. Oh, what did I just do there? I hit a button, DP. And we don't have wipers.
Oh my God.
So I just did a little bit of spray there. Wow, that's amazing.
That's so good.
Well, sorry guys. That
we didn't put the cowl or the wipers on.
Of course we didn't put the wipers on, and of course that's what would happen. I hit this button in here thinking I was going to clear this, and it's the spray button.
We did build a BMW. Things like this are going to have to happen.
Yes.
Man, this thing corners nice.
Oh, it does. It does.
And these Contis, of course, deliver all the grip you would want with exceptional ride quality. Good top end too, man.
And it does feel different. It just feels more composed and proper.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Oh, dude, it pulls.
It's got good top end. It really needs that valve though to give you the torque that it's missing right now in the mid-range.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so we're at 2,500. Let's floor it, and it should have that crossover hit. there. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, yes.
Well, yeah, it's a relief that the wheels and tires don't rub because they are pretty aggressive.
Yes.
But they look phenomenal, so it's nice to be able to run
Yeah,
them
yeah.
and not have to stress about it.
I totally agree with you. The other thing we should mention is that the car does look stunning now.
It does.
What a
It does,
transformation
yeah.
from, you know, what it started off with
Yeah.
as to what it is now. It's
Pretty remarkable.
So nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the 18s on it. I think they certainly modernize it. I know
do.
the 17s are certainly a period correct look. There's a lot of people that had very, very different opinions as to which
So
ones
the
they liked, and
internet is
that's completely
yeah.
normal. That's what you get in this type of scenario.
Definitely Team 18s on this car. It looks so proper, and I mean it's a handsome car. As far as four-door sports sedans go, be hard pressed to find a better looking car than this, in my opinion. And it's a great looking car from 10 feet away. It's shiny. The stance is perfect. It's just when you get up close, the paint is baffed on it, as we've talked about before. So.
And it's the perfect driver. I don't have to worry about nicks and scratches now and driving it on the highway, stone chips and all that. So it is perfection in that sense.
Yeah, and I hope you do use it that way because the car rides and drives really nice now.
Dave said we didn't hear any rubbing, and that is true, but you can see there is a slight amount of contact. It's even got some silver paint on the tire, so that's a bit unfortunate. That means I would have to add a bit of camber to make these work. So I don't know what I'm gonna do.
K-Mac it, buddy, K-Mac it.
Or I might switch the wheels out to the 17s. Who knows, guys, who knows? Anyways, I think we are going to wrap it on this one. The transformation on this vehicle has been huge. It's been somewhat quick, not so easy, which we knew was gonna happen with the BMW, but I'm like so pumped in terms of how this car has turned out. It's something I can feel pride in driving now, where before I couldn't do it, and the ride quality was so bad, and with all the new parts and everything, it does truly feel like a proper M5. So huge thanks to eBay for sponsoring this video series. Thank you so much to them. Without them and other sponsors, we would not be able to create this type of content. So post in the comments, guys. Tell us, did you enjoy this video series? Do you want to see more on this M5? Because I know there's going to be at least one more episode. I do have a surprise. It'll be a bonus one. I don't know when all the parts come in. We're going to do some syncing of the ITBs and all that jazz. So that is going to happen in a future episode. All right, that's it. I am signing off. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys certainly enjoyed this content, think about hitting that like button and think about subscribing because it certainly does help if you support us.
For all you non-BMW guys, thanks for toughing this one out, and I want you all to know that this is not the greatest sports sedan we've ever made here at Speed Academy. For that, you gotta look no further than, you guessed it, the Flexus.
Let's do this, boys.